The environmental problem that I chose was air pollution, and the problem is that things like smog, acid rain, fossil fuels, greenhouse gases, and carbon monoxide are released into the air. This makes it dangerous to breathe, and there are risks to the environment, the people, and the economy. Also, global warming and climate change are affected. This has been a problem since about the 13th century, when in London, people began to complain about the coal dust and the emissions from chimneys. Then, with the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, factories increased and production increased, which meant that air pollution increased. Some of the causes of air pollution include anthropogenic air pollutants, which is the burning of fossil fuels in homes, cars, and factories. And then there are natural causes such as volcanoes, dust storms, and biological decay. There are two types of air pollution. The first is primary, when it is released directly into the environment through, an example would be carbon monoxide from combustion. And then the other is secondary, which is caused by chemical reactions in the air. Locally, the emissions are a problem because of diesel trucks. We live in a farm community where there are lots of diesel trucks, and they actually emit up to 40 toxic contaminants into the air. Also, we have lots of factories locally which emit lots of greenhouse gases. Then regionally, in terms of diesel, again, California spent $14.8 billion last year just on medical bills from the effects of that. And then factories, and they have more cars and more homes in more populated areas, so that creates more pollution. Also, globally, China is a big problem, in Asia just in general. In February of this year, China was under an orange smog alert, which is the second highest warning for air pollutants. And this is actually the first time that that has had to be called. The International School of Beijing actually made 2 domes for their students to be able to play outside because it was the smog was too heavy and too dangerous for them to be outside. And effects on the environment, it affects the plant's ability to store food. This is caused by the ground level ozone. And then trees and plants' growth are affected. Acid rain falls down due to nitrogen and sulfuric oxides in the air. Stronger tornadoes, global warming and cooling, and bigger storms due to the aerosols, which are actually most come from Asia to the United States. And then disruptions with El Nino cause floods and drought. It also affects people and wildlife. Obviously, makes it hard to breathe, so there would be respiratory issues involved with that. There's abnormal heart rates, blood clots, higher risk of heart attack, and lots of asthma attacks. So what happened to cause this problem is that once cars were invented, people started running them, started running more cars, and then began to heat homes and generate electricity through oil and gas. And also, burning wood and the fumes from burning garbage, paint fumes, and fertilizers that contain ammonia get into the air. So the people that actually benefit from air pollution, politically, people that are in politics, such as the president, would benefit because they would gain some prestige if they provided a solution to the problem. Also, technology companies and scientists get money and grants from the government to find solutions for this problem. And then some arguments and some kind of justifications for air pollution happening. One is that if the coal companies have to buy scrubbers, which are things that they put on the top of the smokestacks of the factories to keep the air cleaner, the price of coal will have to go up because the cost of those scrubbers is very high. Also, some people believe that global warming is a natural process and that we have nothing to do with it, or that it doesn't exist at all. So to them, air pollution creating global warming is not a problem. Also, others might think that it isn't fair that states who can afford to cut pollution down are required to cut it more because they have the money to do so, so they should cut it more. Also, in China, they believe that the heavy smog can be a defense against laser weapons because the smog is so thick that lasers cannot go through it. So some solutions for air pollution. For individuals, we can choose to walk instead of drive, use public transportation, hang our clothes out to dry on the line. You should rake your leaves instead of using a leaf blower. Use fans and open windows instead of using your air conditioning. Buy energy efficient light bulbs. Recycle. Plant trees and don't smoke. And some political, scientific, and economic solutions that have been found. The Natural Resource Defense Council has created a Dump Dirty Diesel campaign, which encourages the use of cleaner diesel. Also, the Environmental Protection Agency has created guidelines for air quality. There are incentives for factories that reduce their emissions. Also, the Clean Air Act, which was started in 1970, it calls for solving the problem of air pollution through technology. And so factories should be able to use the best available technology to lower their emissions, and it also creates air quality standards. And then the good neighbor rule is that states who are upwind should reduce their emissions as much as possible so that it does not travel through the air to the other states. Also, scrubber technology, like I talked about before in the factories, goes over the smokestack and filters the air. And in China, they have created subsidies for Chinese-made cars. So if in China you buy an environmentally friendly car, you get a subsidy for that. And as for how long we have to fix the problem, it's not really certain. We can't eliminate the problem completely. There will always be air pollution, but it can get better. China is already at a very, very bad point. So the U.S. needs to start fixing the problem now so that it does not get worse.